I took a professional chef to an NBA basketball game. That's right. Welcome to episode 2 of the Logo Layups podcast. My name is Logan Bound, and I am pumped you guys joined us today. It's going to be a great episode. Today I'm interviewing Maxine Clark, a current culinary arts student, a future professional chef, and not the biggest sports fan in the world. And we're talking about our experience at the Oklahoma City Thunder game we went to recently. It's a great episode. We talk about all sorts of things from culinary arts classes to living so far away from home to family to what it's like going to an NBA basketball game with a professional with air quotes podcaster. It's a great episode. I recommend you guys stay to the end. Enjoy it. Let's get right to the interview. We are here, finally, episode 2 after technical difficulty after technical
Yeah,
difficulty after technical difficulty.
yeah.
Episode 2 is here. How does it feel to be on the Logo Layups podcast, Maxine?
It feels great. I'm so glad that we are, hopefully done with technical difficulties. Knocking on some wood for you. I'm excited to talk about all things basketball and my culinary career and all things of the above.
Of course, of course. I want to get right into that, but first, I think it's important for the audience who don't know you personally to get to know you a little bit. Give us your elevator pitch of who Maxine is. Like, kind of just the main things, the main important things. Like, who is Maxine?
Hi, I'm Maxine. I am a culinary student in Arkansas right now. I go to Brightwater Culinary Academy. Um, that's really it. I work in aircraft manufacturing, which is my favorite little fun fact about myself. Moved here from our small little hometown in Iowa where Logan and I went to high school together. And now here we are, living the life.
Yeah, we made it. That's
We
one way to
made it.
put it. You mentioned aircraft manufacturing and culinary arts. What kind of person are you to work in such different environments? What kind of similarities and differences are there? Because I'm sure there are kind of somewhat sort of similarities. I want to get into culinary arts first, but what a unique combination of
It
interests.
is definitely a unique situation. It really just fell into my lap, just a series of coincidences. I'm very lucky to be in the position that I am with my career and my schooling. I worked as a cleaner for a long time, cleaned at the place I work now, and eventually made a couple friends in high places, and they offered me an interview. And through people who are way more qualified than they dropped out, and I got the position, and I've been there for just over a year now, and I love it. I love my job. Work 12-hour shifts, so it's definitely a lot, but it gives me time to do school because I work on the
Hmm.
weekends. So I get the best of both worlds.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, for sure. And I was gonna ask you how you ended up there, but as you said, just a series of coincidences. I think Brady said that in episode 1 too. So like, I really like that phrase. That's a good one there. Um, you're a chef to be. You're currently taking culinary classes. What are those classes like, and what are like some of your favorite memories you made in those classes so far?
Favorite memories is definitely just all of the people I've met. I have made a lot of great connections through every single class. You just meet more and more people, and I'm a little over halfway done. I'm going to graduate this time next year. So I have met so many great people, and through that, all of my classes now, I know people, and so it's so nice to always know somebody and then always be able to make new friends. And we're always cooking great things, and we all are interested in cooking, and we all love to cook. So it's like we always have something in common. And I've definitely cooked amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a world cuisine class right now, and yesterday it was Mexico and Central America. So we made some pupusas, we made churros. It was amazing.
Ooh.
So every day you're cooking something new, you're learning new things. It's just surrounded by food and people who love food. So it's just such a great environment to be in.
I bet that sounds like an environment meant for a guy like me, if you know what I'm saying, who loves to eat food. Pupusas, I think they come from like El
Yeah, yeah,
Salvador
they're
or something like
Salvadorian.
that. Oh, what a like under the radar food. Like you don't expect it. You like think like this wimpy little food coming from El Salvador. Boom,
So
one of the best
good.
foods you'll ever
And
eat. I'm putting it out there.
surprisingly uncomplicated to make. And we made everything by hand. Like we
Mm.
ground our own corn masa as well. Not just the stuff that you get from like the grocery store in a bag. We ground our own corn, we nixtamalized it. It was
Hmm.
such a cool thing to learn.
Wow, I bet that sounds super cool, super interesting. As someone who is interested in food myself, that sounds like a very fun time. I've always wanted to ask a professional chef or a professional chef to be, what is your favorite
Oh,
food?
I don't know if I can pick. Every day I'm like trying something new. Like last night I had Indian food and it was amazing. So I think my favorite foods are always
Hmm.
changing. Like right now, because I've been cooking them, I love pupusas. Um, and oh my gosh, we made this amazing pork stew, and it was so good. Pozole, which is from, I think it's from Mexico. So it's just constantly changing. Like every time I try and make
Ooh.
something new, I'm just obsessed.
Hmm. Nice. So you say your favorite food is whatever one you make, whatever new food
Yeah.
you make. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Nice, nice. As a future professional chef, we've talked about your favorite foods, but I want to talk about, you mentioned this time next year you'll be graduated. You'll be
Hmm.
officially a chef. What kind of dreams and aspirations come with having that title, and what kind of goals have you set already for yourself in your future?
I definitely have some goals. I try to be realistic because I want to eventually open up my own little cafe. Hopefully with her, because my best friend and she loves coffee, or we want to do like a combination coffee cafe, maybe when we're older. Um, so to get there, I have got my culinary degree, which I will be graduating with along with a butchery certificate, which I'm doing next spring. Also very exciting. And then after that, I'm going to
Mm.
business school for 2 years just to learn that side of everything. So I will be walking out of college with 2 degrees and a certificate, and I am very excited for the next like 5 years.
That'll be super exciting. I feel like just being friends with you and like witnessing that growth. And you started off in baking and like in pastry decoration and
I
everything
did,
like
I
that.
did.
And now you're like kind of flipped the script, but still in the food realm. What has that kind of transition and process been
So
like?
yeah, I walked into it wanting to own a bakery, and I was a baking student because during COVID I baked all the time, and I grew to really love baking. But I also know that I bake when I'm angry, and that is not really the kind of thing that we want to be bringing into our life. So, this time last year in January, I took my first culinary class and fell in love with just cooking just by itself and realized that's the kind of thing I want to do because baking is really like history. It is very, very scientific. If you screw one thing up, the whole thing's gone. Cooking, you add a little bit too much salt, a
Mm.
little bit too much of something. There's so many ways that you can fix it. There's so many ways that you can add something and just take whatever it is away. So, being someone who is a little bit prone to making mistakes, that seemed a lot more like my kind of thing. So I switched, and ever since then, I've been so happy that I switched because I've learned so much, and everything I make, I enjoy it. So it's definitely been a good
That's
choice.
awesome. Yeah, not too many people can say they enjoy their college classes or their career as much as you do. What a blessing. How awesome is that? We're almost we're almost 10 minutes into this podcast and we've just been talking about the food this whole time. Very appropriate
It's
for having a
my
chef
favorite thing to talk about.
on the show. And I want to get to, of course, hey, as it should be, right? we I want to get into a few other subjects too. We'll get into the basketball game and the trip and everything. But first, I want to talk about your family because I know your family really well. They're some of the most genuine, kind people I've ever met. What kind of impact has your family made on your life and how?
My family's great. They're so supportive. And they're always so kind to my friends. As you know, we've known each other for what? I mean, we've known each other forever. We've been really close friends for the past 4 years. And my family has always been kind.
Hmm.
They are so supportive. When I said I wanted to move 7 hours away, at 18, it was definitely a little bit of a shock, but my sister, being the person that she is, immediately said, "I will move down here with you, not only to make sure I knew and that I would be safe when living down here." Her soon-to-be husband also happened to be from this area, so it just was just again perfect series of coincidences that just lined up to really
Yeah,
just make everything work out the best way that it could. So I'm so lucky to have such a supportive and amazing family, and they're great.
they really are. I like you said, I've known your parents for a very long time. They're kind of like the whole friend group's parents in a way. Like they've always, are willing to reach out, be there
They
for
really
us. Like,
are.
and it's a blessing having that in your life. Yeah,
Yeah, my dad is definitely a bit of a to all of us.
definitely, definitely. So I was recently down at your place with you and your sister. What kind of difficulties and also advantages come with that part of your situation as far as living with a sibling? Because I'm sure at the age that you guys are at, it comes with its fair share of difficulties, but also could be like the best time ever some days too.
Yeah, we definitely butt heads sometimes. I mean, we grew up together, so we definitely know our faults and where some of us like she's better at some things than I am. I'm better at some things. Like I'm very specific about the way that my kitchen is. And it really is my kitchen. Um,
Very fitting.
yeah, but I tell her a lot. I'm like, "Hey, I do dishes all day at school. Can't alone. So some days I'll come home and the sink will be entirely full. So I get home from 10 hours of class doing dishes a couple times and I come home and I got to do more dishes. So there's a bit of tension with that,
Mm,
but we work completely different. So we really don't see each other as much as you would think we would living together. Like her fiance lives here as well, and he
hmm.
works complete opposite of what I work. So I see him 2, 3 times a week. But it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But we really get each other and we're there for each other when we need each other. So it's nice. Like I said, she is my best friend. So we definitely have our moments, but we're really supportive of each other, and it's so nice to completely know my like roommate as a person and be able to completely put my trust in her that if I need
Yeah.
her or if she needs me, we will be there for each other, which I'm so lucky to have that relationship with a sibling because I know not everybody does have that relationship with their sibling. But no, it's been great. I will
Hmm.
definitely miss her when she moves out.
That is so sweet. I mean, yeah, what a special bond you guys have. I like you said, not everybody has that, and I feel like you guys might be some of the closest siblings like I've really met. Honestly, like you guys are so close. Always seem to be laughing and having a good time when I talk to you two. I want to also talk about moving so far away from home, you talked about telling your parents that. For the audience watching who may be preparing to move out for the first time or already have, what kind of advice would you give to them as far as adjusting? Because not only did you move away, you moved 7 hours away. So I feel like you're kind of justified in a way to tell us about what it's like living so
Yeah,
far
it's
away.
it's definitely hard. It helps that you're kind of like if you're bringing pieces of home with you. I say, my cat just jumped up here. So here's my little piece of home. This is Jack, my
Hey,
baby.
Jack.
Um, and obviously my sister. Moving out alone would definitely be hard because knowing absolutely nobody is really hard, and it's hard to reach out and meet new people. My first like 3 months of college, I had all lecture classes. I didn't talk to a single person. Um, I didn't know anybody. I was
Mm,
too scared to talk to people. And especially being in an entirely new place, you don't know where anything is, you don't know how to get to places. So, my advice definitely, once you're settled in, go explore your new city. My first summer here, I went to the farmers market every weekend just to like get out there and see people. And even if I didn't like know who they were, just talk to people outside of my little bubble where I live. So talking to people and going in new things, especially like I live in a city that is about 6 times bigger than our hometown. So it's definitely an adjustment. It is no New York, but it is definitely a lot bigger. So
yeah.
getting that adjustment and just figuring out where everything is definitely really, really, really good. And just going out, meeting people, talking to people. If you're moving out for college, talk to people in your classes. You're in the same class, you have something to talk about. So that's already one done. And through that, you get to
Yeah.
talking and knowing who people are. So it really takes a lot to take that first step. Well, once you're going, you're going.
Yeah, definitely. And I like how you mentioned your bubble, because even if you do move from a small town to a big town, your bubble is going to get dramatically smaller, and it's just about like expanding that little bubble. And like, day after day, if you just talk to one person, that's like your bubble growing a little bit more
Yeah,
every day.
it's all about little
And
steps.
I like how you mentioned the farmers market too, because that's, yeah, definitely, definitely. I like how you mentioned that too, because that's, a way to combine your interests with getting out of the house. Like, if your interest is basketball, go to local basketball games. If your interest is plants, go to the farmers market. If your interest is museums, go to the museum. I don't know, but yeah, that's really cool, and I like how you mentioned that. Um, I shout out Jack for hopping
Yeah,
in the video.
he's my favorite
Um,
man.
and I'm sure that is I'm sure that's a big responsibility. What kind of responsibilities come to mind when you think about moving away all by yourself?
Definitely like it's a lot when you think about moving out from living with your parents, especially because your parents do so much for you that you don't even realize. Especially like if your parents are the ones paying the bills,
Hmm.
buying the groceries, like taking out the trash. If, say, you have cats and your mom scoops the litter and now
Yeah.
you have that cat, now you have to do it. So it's definitely like an adjustment of
Hmm.
expectations and real, oh, wow, I have to figure out this now. Like when we were first figuring out what we needed to do for groceries, we were still in the mind of like, oh, well, we're shopping for 4 people because, we live with our parents and making meals set for 4 people. So we had to like really figure out how to scale stuff for just the two of us. Or now that we live with her fiance, the three of us, and
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
overcooking. Um, there's noises going on in my background. It's definitely just about adjusting your expectations for yourself and for like I said, your little bubble. So just figuring out a schedule or a system, like cleaning. Like you can't expect someone else to do it if you live by yourself or if you live with someone who maybe doesn't clean as
Hmm.
much. So it's definitely a lot of trying to figure out what works for you in your space. And especially if you live with a roommate who you know, or if you moved in with someone that you maybe don't know as well, figuring out boundaries and limitations for like each other's space and how you work together.
Yeah, that's really good advice and just good points in general. And even if your roommate is your sister, I'm sure there are still new boundaries to discover and put in place. Definitely. And yeah, hey, we've kind of transitioned into this kind of third topic of living out away from home, I should say, and living in a new place. Um, well, let's talk about the place. Let's talk about Bentonville. What was the process of deciding on Bentonville, Arkansas? Because I know from me, your friend, when you told me you're like I'm moving to Bentonville. I'm like, what even is that? Like it was so random to me. What went into that process and that decision?
So throughout, I want to say middle and high school, uh, we as in my family, we would vacation down to Bella Vista, which is about 30 minutes north of here. Um, because my grandparents are from Texas and driving from Houston to Iowa is about a 22-hour drive. So that's rough, and they were getting older.
Ooh.
So Bella Vista became our little halfway point. And my junior year, I was really getting into cooking and baking, and I was like, I think I want to do culinary school. And we knew that DMAC was an option, our little community college. But while we were down here, we started looking, and my mom was like, "Hey, there's a community college here that has a culinary program, and it's funded by the Walmart." So we were hoping it would be pretty good. And
Mm,
so we toured it. It was the only school I toured, and I
yeah.
was like, "This is it. This is where I'm going to school." And I completely like solidified in that choice. And so about 6 months before before I graduated, we started looking and we're like trying to figure out where the best location is because we moved down here knowing I would go to school here. So we didn't want to go 30 minutes away or
Hmm.
45 minutes away, even if it would have been cheaper. So we picked a nice good spot. It's about
Hmm.
15, 10 minutes, 10-minute drive away from my school, and
Hmm.
it's a good neighborhood, and it's definitely a great place to live. There is, and I'm going to talk about food again. There is so many options for different cuisines because Bentonville is
Yeah.
the home of Walmart. So people from all over the world move here to work at Walmart headquarters, and those families start their restaurants. So there is Indian, Thai, Vietnamese. There is so many options, and all of them are amazing. Everything I've tried has been amazing. So I try to do new restaurants just about every other week. Either I'll order stuff by myself, I'll take my boyfriend, or I will take my friend, and we will just go and try a new restaurant because it's just my favorite thing to do: eat food and enjoy food. So Bentonville is just a great place, and especially Northwest Arkansas, it's just a great place to live if you like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Being down there and visiting was awesome. It was not an area of the country I'd ever been
Mm,
in before. Yeah, the area is
it is.
beautiful. The food, I did notice that just driving down like the main roads, like a different kind of restaurant every square block. It's like it was crazy, especially coming from central Iowa, where
We got about four
the
local
local
restaurants.
Chinese restaurant and the local Mexican. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much your only two options. But speaking of my
Mhm.
trip down there, let's talk about it because I went down there and then we drove to Oklahoma. Immediately we went to Oklahoma City. What was your first reaction to seeing downtown Oklahoma City? And yeah, what were your immediate thoughts being there?
Well, first thought, we didn't drive through a super great area. We went to that cat cafe. Was not a great part of OKC, but
Hmm.
once we got closer to downtown, it was so cool. The skyscrapers. I love downtowns of cities, and the parks were beautiful. And I think just about everywhere we went in Oklahoma City was just gorgeous. We went to that botanical garden,
Definitely.
and there is a downside of ever it's pay to park, but I we got a pretty good deal um,
Hmm.
when we parked early for that basketball game. So,
Yeah, hey, shout out to
mhm.
the guy who like reserved our spot in the parking lot. That was awesome. There was a lot to unpack in that answer, which is a good thing. First, I want to unpack the cat cafe you mentioned. First thing we did in Oklahoma City, it's about what 9, 10 o'clock. We're like, let's go get some cafe stuff at a cat cafe, and we ended up just going there and just playing with cats, which it was totally cool with me. But what was your experience there like, and how do you think, or what do you think of cat
Oh
cafes
my
in
God,
general?
I loved it. I love cats, obviously, as I have to. But yeah, no, we had gotten breakfast about 30 minutes before, so we weren't super hungry. And so we just went there and played with the cats. And it was
Hmm.
amazing. It was so fun. That one little tabby fell asleep on my lap the entire time. Um, it was so great. They were
Yeah,
really sweet cats, all of them. And it's just so fun. Cat cafes are so cool. The name of it, Don't Stress Me Out, Cat Cafe. Shout out. Um, it was
yeah,
great.
yeah.
It was really fun.
It really was. Even for me, a very vocal dog person, even I had a little bit of fun, and I don't like admitting that personally, especially publicly on my own podcast. But hey, it was a great place, and shout out to Don't Stress Me Out. Secondly, you mentioned the cool skyscrapers in the parks. Right after that, we went to Scissortail Park and walked around. Went to the Sky Dance
Yeah,
Bridge,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
is what it was called. Really cool area, really cool park, right there in downtown OKC. What were your immediate thoughts there? Because that was kind of our first taste of the city itself.
Yeah.
What do you think of
Oh,
Scissortail
it was
Park?
gorgeous. The paths were beautiful. It was right on that little river. And then we went over that bridge. And you were so excited because you see that bridge, or you've seen like the sculptures in front of the Paycom
Hmm.
Center, um, like on TV when you're watching all your OKC games. So you were so excited.
Yeah,
That was probably just my favorite part, just seeing how excited you were. Every time we saw something that you'd seen on TV for OKC games, like we saw that
yeah.
big feather, or we saw the building that shows the OKC Thunder
Hmm.
logo every time that it's on TV. I
Yep.
think that was probably my favorite part of everything, was just getting to see how excited you were and knowing that you were having fun.
Even before I got to OKC, it was a place that had a special place in my heart because as someone who hasn't missed a Thunder game all year, has become a diehard Thunder fan. It was kind of surreal to like see these kind of places you've seen on TV before, like pregame and everything, in real life, and that became even more surreal once we got to the basketball game. Um, yeah, I guess we'll just get right into it. We went to the basketball game, Oklahoma City versus Memphis, day one. It was actually pretty electric. It was. I feel like it was a blessing to see such a good game, especially this late into the season. As you yourself have not been the biggest sports fan, what was your immediate reaction to seeing and experiencing basketball of all sports on the biggest level
It
there
was really
is?
cool. I haven't seen a basketball game above high school level when I was in pep band. So it was definitely really exciting. The biggest thing I have to compare it to is Iowa Wild games, and that's not even NHL level. So it was
Mm.
definitely a step up.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
energy in the center was amazing. It was really cool. We got to be on the pregame TVs. They were going around showing the crowd, so that was really cool.
true, true.
Everything I saw was just so amazing, especially just how hyped up the crowd gets for their favorite team. It really you really feel like a part of it. Even though I was a
Hmm.
little bit of a temporary fan, I will say it was still amazing. Shout out Lou Dort, my new basketball
That
player.
is so glad.
Number 5.
I was gonna ask you who's your favorite Thunder player. That's awesome. Shout out Lou Dort, defensive player of the year, if you ask me, but I might be a tad bit biased. Anyways, yeah, it's called Loud City for a reason. That's like the nickname of the
It
city.
was definitely
They
loud.
get loud compared to anybody. Yeah, for sure. That's not even playoff basketball. That's just like a
Hmm.
normal Friday night game, Thursday night game. Like, yeah, it was pretty energetic. It was like 99-99 with 5 minutes left in the game or something like that, maybe six
Hmm.
minutes, and we won by 20. And it was like that span where it went from tied to 20-point win. It was like big play after big
It was
play,
great.
and like that was my kind of like biggest kind of fear in a way, was like not seeing any big plays. But we did not have to worry about that game. That was
Yeah,
pretty awesome. What do you think of the big plays, like the dunks and the cool
there was
passes?
definitely some awesome shots. A lot of threes. The dunk by 55. You told me his name, and I've already forgot.
Shout out Isaiah
There we
Hartenstein.
go. We
Yeah,
saw that dunk
yep.
live, and then later we were watching replays, and we're like, "Oh my, we saw this happen!" Immediately after.
We went back to the hotel and immediately watched the
Hmm.
highlights.
It
Yeah,
was definitely exciting.
yep,
Getting to be like,
yeah.
"Oh my gosh, we were sitting over there," or "Oh wow, we saw that happen. It looks so much cooler." And we had a great view too. For being so high
Mhm.
up, we could see everything.
Yeah, we were in like the level two balcony. Shout out section like
It was
226 or
226.
whatever it was. Yep, yep. It's engraved in my brain. I can't
Do you
forget that
have
day.
favorite
Dream
moments?
come
I'm
true
gonna
for sure.
podcast interview you
Was
really quick. What was your favorite? What was your favorite moment?
ooh, I appreciate it. Favorite moment of the basketball game? Definitely. I mean, I might steal yours a little bit. That Lou Dort strip pass to, I think it's Isaiah Joe, hits a cutting Isaiah Hartenstein, big time slam. So loud, it was
Hmm.
crazy. Casey Wallace had a really cool dunk too. That was just by himself. And also just like seeing Shea get buckets. He had 37 points, and that dude just hits the toughest shots. I don't think he missed a shot until like shot seven. Like he went 7 for 7 or 6 for 6 to start that game. That dude, it's like seeing it in person is so different compared to TV because it's just like you see how fast these guys are. The NBA is very fast paced compared to like what you see on TV or the replays, the slow motion replays. Um, but yeah, I'd say my favorite moment was probably that Isaiah Hartenstein dunk. Might have to steal yours a little bit, but
That's okay. No, it was
yeah,
definitely cool.
yep.
You
Was
really,
was that game?
you really hyped up Shade and me, and then he lived up. He
Yep.
lived up to all of the hype. I remember you telling me that they don't sit down until the first point is made. And I think we were standing up for maybe 10 seconds and he
Oh,
just
true.
slammed it down in there and it was definitely awesome.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely was cool. Um, was it exactly what you were expecting, or was it different in any way, shape, or form?
It was a bit what I was expecting. I mean, like I said, I've been to hockey games, which is really the sport I'm a bit more familiar with. But just really feeling that energy
Mm,
and just seeing how hyped up people get. It's so exciting. Every live sports thing, no matter if I know the sport or not, even like high school football, just feeling like a part of that community, a part of that crowd, anything like that is just
yeah,
so fun.
definitely. And I feel like OKC specifically just really embraces that community, and is it's just really awesome. Last question regarding the basketball game. This is a chef on my show, after all. We got some pretty good
Oh,
Korean
oh my
barbecue
God, it was so
at the arena. What were your thoughts? I forgot the name of like the stand
good.
anything like that,
I
but it was pretty good Korean barbecue.
It
So
was delicious Korean barbecue.
yeah, what do you
I
think of
got in
it?
the bowl. I asked for it not to be spicy, and it was a little bit, but it wasn't like overpowering. The sauce, tangy, sweet, really rich. The noodles were amazing. It had kimchi on top. It was so good. And you got pot stickers. Yours were like little
Yep.
crunchy pot stickers,
Yeah,
deep
the pot
fried.
stickers were good. Yeah.
I,
I didn't really know, like, I don't know how to describe them as fancy as you just described your dish, but they were really good. They were really tasty. So that was day
mhm,
one. We still got a whole nother day to get into. Day two was a little more low key, if you will. Checked out of the hotel, and we went immediately to like these underground tunnels in downtown OKC. Um, it wasn't necessarily the most exciting thing that we did all trip, but what did you think of that, and what was your
it
experience
was
there
definitely
like?
interesting. The waiter at the restaurant that we went to the day before, the Manhattan, side note, food was delicious and not
Oh
super
yeah, shout out to
expensive, which I was
Manhattan.
kind of worried about. 'Cause it was kind
Yeah.
of fancy. So good. Amazing sandwich.
Hmm.
Anyway, he recommended that we go there, and it was really interesting. It was such a cool way to show the city's history because it was really just like a little OKC museum. Just these underground LED
Hmm.
tunnels. It was like an art exhibit plus a little bit of a museum. My favorite one was definitely
Hmm.
it was
Yeah.
like a line of pictures of people aged like 80 to 100 or so, and just advice that they gave out
Hmm.
about their lives. Like appreciate every moment. Don't be afraid to do anything. That was definitely really cool. Seeing all those and just people who've lived so long giving out just advice. You always know that they really know what they're talking about. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
It was a cool little experience to start the morning off with, and then we drove to Tulsa, which was also
Yep. Yep.
great drive. Driving, I drove the whole time. So,
Yeah.
and then we saw your concert.
Yeah. I made the trip down to Arkansas, so yeah, let's talk about that. We saw Holvey live. If you don't know who Holvey is, he is a Christian rapper born in Brunswick, Georgia, and kind of from like that Atlanta area. Um, and just really cool in a really cool way combines hip hop and faith. And I was so beyond excited. It wasn't someone you've really heard much of before, and yeah, I mean, what is it like seeing some a music artist live who you haven't really heard before? Cause like I don't know, those were the two main parts of the trip were kind of for me. Hey, we got another cat. Let's go.
Noli says hi. This is my
Anyways,
sister's
yeah, the
cat.
two main.
Hey, buddy.
What's up?
It was actually cool.
What was I saying? What was I saying? Oh, the two main parts of the trip were kind of for me, and I really appreciate you being there. Everything else, I try to kind of cater towards you, but yeah, the concert being the main part of day two. What was it like for you?
I think it was cool. I am not Christian and I don't listen to rap, so it was definitely a bit outside my comfort zone. Um, but I really wanted to, be able to be there for you. And I listened to most kinds of music. It was really good. His opener was amazing, no big deal. Um, he was great.
Oh
We got
yeah,
some great pictures. We were really up close, which was really cool. Um, you made your sign for after Holby came on, and you got to do a little interview with
yeah, yeah.
his social media manager. So we're hoping that gets put up because that was really
True,
cool.
true.
It was really fun. It was a
There
fun
might be
concert.
an interview out there with me, and yeah, yeah, it really was. I mean, I was so grateful that you were there. And I mean, me personally, I felt like such a strong, like as strong as a connection I've ever felt to God. And I've only really kind of had that kind of focal point in my brain since last October when I gave my heart to Christ. And yeah, of all things, a concert where, a lot of people don't really think about
Mhm.
God brought me so close to Him. Um, not really aligning with that faith yourself, was there any like kind of feeling there of kind of recognizing that kind of, I guess, spiritual connection, or for you was it more just kind of focused on the music?
It was definitely like I recognized that there was spiritual connection happening, but I'm not a woman of faith myself. So it was definitely awesome to like see
Mm.
all these people around me experiencing so much and feeling that connection. I was really enjoying the music. It definitely was like really cool to see just how much that music meant to people, and especially because you were having such a great time. But yeah, it was really fun. It was really cool. The music was great. It was definitely enjoyable. My joints did not enjoy it, but I did. So that's all that matters.
Man. Yeah, it was what, like
I
four
think
hours or
I think
more of
about 5
standing, maybe closer to 5 or 6.
because we got there
Yeah,
an hour and a
yeah.
half it started, and then we left 10:30. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a long time, but
Yeah.
it was definitely a lot of
Whew.
fun.
Definitely. And like, first off, how brave of you to not only go to a concert with a friend who's music artist you've never even heard of, but also of like a separate faith. Like, I'm sure that took a lot of bravery. Like, what was kind of the thought process there, kind of like the mentality being there?
Um, it definitely was mostly just doing this. Um, I I
Mm.
mean, I don't like to just say I will do anything for people, but I really will do anything to make my friends happy. And especially because you were just so excited and we were there. So what's the reason to say no? I mean, it's always experience. I lived just
Yeah.
to be able to just go do things, see people like enjoying themselves. I just I love seeing people see things that they love, and like if I cook for someone, just knowing that they enjoy it just makes it all that much more
Mm.
better. So just it was really just like just
Yeah.
seeing how much fun you were having at the game and at the concert. That was really just what made it for me. It didn't really matter to me that I'm not Christian and I was at a Christian concert. It was really just like I was making you happy, and that was all I cared
I feel I was so surprised. I was so surprised by, even though I got to see a Thunder game and being like such a life, like for lifer as far as being a Thunder fan, the highlight of the trip for me and like the part I thought about the whole 8 hour 7 hour drive home was being at that concert and like singing, just praising God's name with, a bunch of strangers and you, and how powerful that moment felt, and like reflecting on how I felt God saved me. Like, I didn't expect that to be the highlight of the trip for me. So I want to ask you, what was the highlight of the trip for you?
I really think the OKC game. It was so fun. Just that whole day that we were in Oklahoma City, it was just great thing after great
Mm-hmm.
thing. It was gorgeous out, and we got to walk around all these parks and all these gardens, and then end off the day with some amazing food and such a cool game. And we won, so that makes it even better because that's just ending on a high. And
Yeah.
then just everything about day one was just amazing. Like starting off with that long drive and then getting to see all
Mhm.
these cats and then walking around, eating some amazing food, going to this awesome game, eating more amazing food. I love food. I don't know if you could tell. It was the OKC game was just so fun.
I feel you.
But
It
I
really
think
was.
really just
That's definitely up there for
I
me.
think really just getting to just spend a couple days without the stress of anything and just getting to enjoy ourselves for two
Mm,
days just made it all that much more fun.
definitely. And we've had a few days to reflect on it now. Like, that post trip blues feeling is still kind of lingering for me, but I definitely felt it. It was such a good time, as was this
Hmm.
podcast. I very much appreciate you coming on. I hopefully it wasn't too scary for your first podcast
Yes, I
experience,
feel like
but
such a
we got
celebrity.
through it. We're there
I'm such a
now, so
celebrity. I'm on a podcast.
Thank you guys so much for watching. That's the end of the episode. For more Maxine, follow her
Yes.
Instagram. It'll be down in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.